everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is again your one and only Miss All or Nothing, only here in Miss All or Nothing TV. It's already year 2021. Everyone, Happy New Year. And again, this is your one and only Miss All or Nothing, only here in Miss All or Nothing TV. Content for today, very first content on year 2021, will concentrate on discussing narrative devices. Later on, you will get to know what narrative devices are, and without further ado, let us start. Again, everyone, as what I've said, I'll be discussing to you narrative devices. But before discussing what narrative devices are, it's very essential to define first the term narrative devices. What narrative devices, anyway, are? The use of narrative devices is a technique that story writers use to add and enrich the meaning of the written stories. With the use of the said narrative devices, an author can shorten, can lengthen, and would allow its readers to focus on a particular event in the written story in which all of its readers would want to read. For example, in the Harry Potter stories, book 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, there are a lot of narrative devices that the story writer are using. Later on, I will reveal to you what are the narrative devices used by a lot of story writers. So sit back, relax, and enjoy as I reveal to you the major narrative devices used by story writers. To reveal to you the very first narrative device, we have what we call as anecdote. Anecdotes are brief narratives that are written from the writer's memory. It can be used as an introduction to an essay, as an example to illustrate one single point that the writer wanted to imply, or an anecdote can be used as a closing statement that caps things off nicely in one single essay, and it's used as a memento to the readers that will make the readers remember a certain writing style of a writer. It's what we call as anecdotes. Now we have example of an anecdote. Education student in college or education students are taught on how to do anecdotal reports. Writing or performing anecdotal reports are one of the best techniques used by story writers in order to certainly identify a certain writer's style via the use of anecdote or anecdotal style in writing, which is the very first narrative device that I am discussing. Again, the first narrative device, anecdote or anecdotal device. Everyone, we also have the number 2 narrative device, which is we call as flashback. It is an event that happened in the past. As the word itself suggests, you are flashbacking or allowing events in the past that you wanted your readers to remember. The flashback is not necessarily the focus of your written story. Rather, it's more of an addition to explain and to further elaborate your point that you as the writer would want to happen before your readers. Flashback or flashbacking is the second narrative device used by a lot of writers across the world. Now, the third narrative device used by a lot of writers in the world is what we call as time stretch or time stretching. A single event in the story that author focuses writing about. In The Day the Dancers Came, the scene in which Phil, the major character in the story, is in the Hamilton Hotel to greet the dancers can be considered as an example of time stretch narrative device. Santos, which is the writer of the story The Day in the Dancers Came, dedicated at least one page of the story to describe how Phil felt like an outsider in the story, even if Phil is the main character in the story. Again, and the story was The Day the Dancers Came. So the third narrative device used by a lot of writers in the world is what we call as time stretch or time stretching narrative device. Now, the fourth narrative device used by a lot of writers in the world is what we call as time summary. What is time summary? As opposed to time stretching, in which a single event is prolonged, a time summary is characterized by jamming together multiple events and or shortening a relatively long period of time in the story that the writer is writing. Time summaries can be determined with expressions used such as the following: in a single day, overnight, after a winter season, a few decades later. Again, fourth narrative device used by a lot of writers in the world is what we call as time summary. The fifth narrative device used by a lot of writers in the world is what we call as simply flash forward narrative device or flash forwarding. Now, what is flash forwarding narrative device? As opposed to flashback, which is the number 4 narrative device, a flash forwarding narrative device is an event that has yet to happen in the story. It is flashing forward or quickly looking at something that will still happen in the future that the readers would know later. So similar to primary purpose of a flashback, a flash forward or flash forwarding narrative device is included in the writing style to simply add meaning to the story. Again, flash forward meaning ipakita ang 10 years from now nga present kung tayo karon 2021. So ipakita in the story unsay mahitabo sa year 2010 kung mali ang imo desisyon karon nga year 2021. So klaro, either mali imo desisyon or sakto imo desisyon, ipakita sa writer ang mahitabo sa imo life sa year 2020, sa year 2010 na ahead sa current year nga 2021. Klaro? Maglisod pa dyan ka anak diha? Wala. Now everyone, we are now in the last narrative device or last writing technique that a lot of writers in the world are using. What that narrative device is? The last narrative device is dialogue or dialoguing. A narrative does not only have a narrator that tells the story according to how certain character observes sequences in the events. Writers also include dialogues or a series of words enclosed in a pair of quotation marks. So ano nga ba ang best para makilala ang dialogue? There's a series of words enclosed in a pair of quotations, open quotation and closed quotation, in which the characters will speak. So dialogue Dialogue 1 ni Character 1, Dialogue 2 ni Character 2, and then Dialogue 3 ni Character 3. So, ganyan. Dialoguing. Again, what is dialoguing? A series of words enclosed in a pair of quotation marks, so open quotation and close quotation, that characters in the story will speak. So, narrative device, this last narrative device is known as dialogue or dialoguing. So everyone, again, Happy New Year. That's it for the content for today. Narrative devices that a lot of writers in the world, even the best writers in the world, are using, that if you are not that good in reading stories and in writing stories, by then it's not easy for you to determine narrative devices that's used by a lot of famous national, international writers in the world, just like in the book of Harry Potter, as to what narrative device or what writing style is the writer of Harry Potter is using. Is she using dialogue? Is she using flash forward writing device? Is she using time summary writing device? Is she using time stretching narrative device, flashbacking narrative device, or anecdote or anecdotal narrative device? Again, everyone, this is again your one and only Miss All or Nothing, discussing to you the 6 narrative devices that writers in the world are using. Everyone, Happy New Year, and this is again the first vlog for the year 2021, only here, Miss All or Nothing TV. So everyone, again, happy New Year, and thank you so much for all those who just subscribed from the months of October, November, December 2020. Thank you so much, and again, thank you from the bottom of my heart. Again, this is your one and only Miss All or Nothing TV. Happy New Year.